Well, good morning, we're getting to our meeting in order with Public Works Building here on January 13th, our first council meeting of 2026. And we're going to do the stand for the invocation and pledge allegiance. Tammy,
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we bless your name. We thank you for this day, for this is the day that you have made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. We acknowledge your presence in this meeting today, and we ask for your wisdom and guidance over this meeting. We also ask for your grace to live a godly life. We thank you for the many blessings that you've given us, and today we ask that you just be with us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you for that prayer, Ms. Tammy. Would you mind taking the roll?
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Poseidon?
Here.
Mr. Adams?
Here.
Ms. Hamilton? Here. Mayor Wolf?
Here. Let's start. The first thing on the agenda is consent the minutes for December the 9th. About 3 or 4 pages there. Everybody read through them, accept them. Any questions? I might reference back to them as we get into this meeting with some comments what we made, but seem accepted. Okay. On a regular agenda, I can get started with the employee of the quarter. Mr. Knopf.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll come out front. You all know that late October we had a tornado, actually 2 tornadoes hit the city. During that time it really did some damage at certain areas in the city, and in particular Parker Park was our staging area for all the debris that we had around the city. You know, you had to put it somewhere so it, didn't get stacked up among the city. It took a while to get those piles taken out, and what was left was a rutted mess of a parking lot at Parker Park. We even took some large magnets that was provided by Mark Garrison and his company to take out all of the nails and screws and metal fragments in that area. And as time goes on, we kept getting closer and closer to our tree lighting ceremony. So you may recall that weekend of the tree lighting ceremony was pretty rainy. In fact, it rained pretty much the few days before the weekend. It rained all day Saturday. It rained all day Sunday until about an hour before the tree lighting ceremony. But in the meantime, we had to scramble around and try to find a way to shore up that parking lot so that when people parked there, it didn't become an issue. So in particular, we had 2 employees who spent a few days during the week working on the parking lot by taking the shells and crushing them, making it nice. They worked all day Saturday on their day off in the rain. They got every piece of their body wet that's even possible to get wet. They even did the same thing on Sunday, right up until the time of the tree lighting ceremony. And so things like that goes above and beyond what is normal. So we wanted to honor them in their efforts. And so if these 2 gentlemen would, Josh and Steve, come on up here. These are the 2 guys that spent those hours and hours getting wet and working for the city. And as you know, the tree lighting ceremony was very successful. It wasn't attended as much as it has in the past, but that's because the rainy weekend, people didn't want to get out. But nonetheless, we have designated these two individuals as our employee, or in this case, employees of the quarter. And what that happens, they get this certificate. They can frame it on their wall, take it home and have their wife enjoy it. Or they could take this in a plaque. It's even better. But most importantly, you get a day off with pay. A good season, of course. And this is the one for Josh. That is yours, sir. And Steve, by now you figured you're next. Here you go. Thank you both so much for your hard work. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All deserved, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. As you can probably see here, looked at the agenda, you probably had the same reaction that the council had. It's a big agenda, so we'll go ahead and get started. First one on the agenda is the report by Anchor for the Nickel Creek Capacity Analysis Report the council approved to do, and we received that. I went through it. We're going to go ahead and have Miss Emily, is she around? There you go.
Emily.
If that's okay. Elizabeth Moore, Anchor CEI. As you mentioned, the city asked Anchor to evaluate the city's infrastructure and its ability to accommodate the Nickel Creek development. The Nickel Creek development is a 136-acre development off of this being proposed off of County Road 386. The first phase consists of 262 residential lots and 7 commercial lots. And phase two involves 107 residential lots and 7 commercial lots. So it's a large development that's comprised of both commercial and residential lots. So Anchor evaluated several different options and different lift stations. Our evaluation focused on wastewater, and there are several different options that could accommodate this development. And those are all highlighted in the report. I won't go through all of the different options that we looked at, but we did look at for each lift station. We looked at the storage capacity of the lift station, we looked at the pumps and their capacity, and we also looked at the force main for each of those stations. One alternate appeared to be the best and least impactful to the city, and that involved the developer pumping the wastewater from Nickel Creek to the pump station 10 force main, and then that would bypass the pump station 10 force main and just pump station altogether and just go into the force main. And then currently that system feeds into the pump station 9 system that's currently being upgraded, and then it eventually goes to MX1. Based on that alternative, the only improvements that would need to be made to accommodate this development would be the MX1 pump station. We did some drawdown tests on MX1. It looks like that one is close to being at maximum capacity for what the city generates currently. However, there's a big caveat to that in that we recommend doing some additional testing on it. We know that the pump station was recently upgraded, but this is a pump station that, from our understanding, is managed by the county. We tried to get additional data on that pump station MX1, the startup report that was done after the recent upgrades, but we were unable to get those reports. We're still working on that, so we still hope to get that, but we want to go ahead and provide the report. But the takeaway is that based on our evaluation, MX1 may need to be further evaluated and upgraded to accommodate the Nickel Creek development, but that's the only major improvement that we saw that was needed. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you had about the report.
MX1 pumping capacity could be higher.
It could be, yes, yes. And it could be, there was a report that somebody did like 15 years ago and it showed a higher capacity for that pump station. But again, it's been modified since then, so we don't have that new data. So it could be wear and tear, it could be just like some maintenance that needs to be done on the pump station. We really don't know. We felt like that was a little bit beyond the scope of this report, but it definitely needs to be further evaluated.
So that pump could have a variable speed
Mhm.
to pump it up. I know that we went to the city and we turned several of them down, is that right? Does it have variable speed?
It has soft starts on them. That was one of the projects that I originally, when we did the budget, that I tried to, put more money into the budget in order to get that done. But, right now we have soft starts on them. So what that does is it brings it up to a certain speed. Well, it doesn't ramp the speed up, at the
Right.
pump. So, yes.
Yeah, so it could be just some more type adjustments as opposed to major improvements, but that was data that we did not have for this report.
Okay.
Did you say the county operates that?
It's my understanding, yes, that's MX1, so that's part of the AWT consortium, so they manage that one.
Okay, so what's the difference between us managing a pump station in the county and managing a pump station?
Well, Tyndall, like we upkeep the station, but Tyndall comes down, they keep up with the flow that's going out of that station. So, as far as, I would say it's 50-50.
Yes.
Okay, and then when it comes to the topic at hand about MX1 upgrades, we negotiate with them but we also want to move it, don't we? So that's sort of a separate project, but I think it might need to be tied into this because we might want to do one before the other.
I believe their input, their reason to have some responsibility for the pump is to track capacity.
Sure.
Because they do that in every city.
Yeah, there should be an agreement, and I don't think I have that for Mexico Beach. There's an agreement between the county, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Garrett, but there's an agreement between the county and the city, and it kind of defines what you all maintain, what they're responsible for, and how that all kind of comes together.
Right, so, but then when it comes to the talk of upgrading the pump, do we make the decision 100%? Yes, we need more capacity, yes, we need to replace this pump, yes, we need a bigger pump, or is it,
Yes. That's on us.
That's on
Yes,
us?
sir. Really, the only thing Bay County mandates is the flow, that's leaving, MX1.
Gotcha.
Good, Jason.
Yeah, a lot of the report, obviously, this is about the sewer. This study was done because we are the service provider to see if we could handle it. And a lot of the report says, obviously, we have some insufficiencies, but as long as these are updated, you think it will handle it. So that leads me to just the main question is, MX1 is obviously the main, the most expensive, the main part. So we've talked about moving it, like Eric said, we want to move it, and I would definitely advocate if this came online to get that thing moved, since it's got to be upgraded and kind of do all that at one time. But the cost, you did a cost analysis and you come up with 1.4 million roughly, and you said the developer on that side is the 450 out of that, that's there?
No, we estimated how much it would take for the developer to go from the Nickel Creek development to the pump station 10 force main, and that is what we estimate to be 450.
And you're saying, and to clarify, you're saying option 2 is is the most to go to 10.
I think that's correct.
This other one was recommendation to go to 11
Yes.
and then to the next one.
Just to clarify his question, the 1.4 is the city's responsibility.
Right.
Full.
And the 450 does not come out of that, so 450 is separate.
Okay, so, and you feel, I guess that's where you feel pretty confident about that number? Because I mean, that's, things tend to rise.
I mean, it's, how confident are you? That's kind of a
Yeah.
grade, because we don't have a design for any of this. So, it depends on the size. There's a lot more that would have to be done. Our evaluation is based on historical costs and some other costs that we were able to obtain. But, you know, I typically, I think that also includes a 20% contingency, which is typical this far out. So yes, I'm confident about it right now. If you were to wait 5 years to do it, no, I'm not confident about it then at that point because prices change quickly, so.
Yeah, and, so in the report, Mel, you said that, the rural water is just, the rural, how do you say it?
Florida Rural
Florida.
Water Association.
It's supposed, that report's supposed to be in February?
The asset management report for the sewer should be done in February.
Okay.
And of course, that's not gonna be a detailed report about the capacity of anything, that was just the state of what we currently have.
And then, I'll try to keep it short on this. The last thing, obviously, y'all know I'm always looking up the money and things like that. You know, you said it could possibly be funded with the impact fees and things like that. That was in this report. From the development, I would want to just talk, I know this is the beginning stages and we've got a lot to talk about this development. But maybe an option is to work something with the developers, I don't, you know, where the city's not. Either ask the developers if they can help upgrade this, or if it is offset, maybe do some sort of, give them credit as they come online, where the city's not really funding this up front. And maybe, this is for the county, I'm just throwing some things I thought about out there. Maybe the city, the developer doing the upgrades, and if there is any credits, they come on the back end through when they when they pay their fees, we credit their fees to them.
When they pay their impact fees of $1,400, they add another $400 to the end of it or something like that.
Well, yeah, well, just, it's more for, so the city's not fronting the bill for the system upgrade
I
for
think-
this development.
But you do typically, I think the city does typically take the, are you talking about like maybe like if they develop like one phase, then maybe you charge impact fees for 2 phases, or, yeah, because typically you would get the impact fees up front.
Like if they say, we wanted to go to them and say, look, it's gonna cost $2 million to upgrade this system. Basically, they pay for the upgrades, and as their lots come online, those impact fees, they would get credit, you know, they just wouldn't pay the 3,000 or whatever up front. It's just an idea
Yeah,
to keep the city from putting the front money.
So to go along with what Jason's saying, you guys are a professional engineering firm that works with a bunch of municipalities. Have you seen a laundry list of options that's kind of along like what we're asking, where the city doesn't eat 1.4 million in capital construction upgrades up front? There's a give and take. How many similar type options like this have you seen with others?
your attorney may have a better answer for that because he looks at this a little bit more detail, but I do know that there are, you know, obviously you have your impact fees, which go towards improving and increasing future capacity. And then you have other concurrency, pro rata share of different things where a development will impact another part of your infrastructure. But I don't know, with water and sewer, because you're paying an impact fee, I don't know if that goes towards, if that's kind of counted as the pro rata share of that typically, or if that's something that other cities look at that differently for. Do you know?
Well, I have seen other cities actually create a special taxing district for certain areas within the city to actually impose an assessment on those areas to facilitate the provision of water and sewer. Callaway did that when they were adding all of the area out there by Sandy Creek.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's a possibility where you're in essence creating a special taxing district and saying, hey, if we're going to provide water and sewer in this area, not only impact fees and connection fees, but also there's an additional bump for the collection of, in essence, paying down to get the water and sewer to you. Okay, so That was done by, Mr. Lawson out of Tallahassee.
Yeah.
So if that's something you want to explore, then I would probably suggest we loop him in and get some guidance from him on how he did that and look at getting the money from that sort of device, so to speak.
And then, yeah, the only other comment, you know, obviously we've talked a lot about, I hope our administrator making hit on this, but as far as the capacity, that was the other,
Over the counter.
item in here that at some point it looked like it was, the way it was read, that it would be, if everything comes online, we would be at some point a little over capacity,
Yeah.
so.
So my understanding is we have a list of what what sewer capacity has been allocated. In other words, they've actually paid for that capacity. And so, you know, you've got those different subdivisions that have paid for that allocation, so you have to account for those because they can turn around tomorrow and come online. So that's what we evaluated. And if you took all those, now right now, I think you're only at like 40% like actual operating of your actual allocation. But if you were to take all those that you already have allocated right now, then, you know, then you would be close to your allocated capacity with the county.
Isn't it fair to say that whether we do Nickel Creek or not, based on what we've already put up on the table, that we have some areas, pumping areas, pipes, a lot of different infrastructure that has to be upgraded?
Yes, you're close to capacity in several different areas from what we saw.
Mayor,
I'm finished.
I'm glad you brought up all the finance of if and when and about the development. As a city, though, to the mayor's point, I think somehow we have to address something we want to get done regardless of what happens with Sweetwater or Nickel Creek. I mean, I think as a city, we have to proactively understand that we need to relocate MX1. We need to upgrade MX1. We also have to look for the funding irregardless of what happens with these future developments to replace our force main back to Tyndall. So those are, quote, this is great information and like everyone at the table, I'm pretty alarmed that if and when, and it's not if, it's when all this comes online, we're gonna be at the limits and we need to obviously plan to not be at the limits.
Any other?
My thoughts being, as a city council member, I consider myself a defender of keeping Mexico Beach small. You know, this report is pretty controversial. There's a lot of insufficiency. The word insufficient is mentioned many, many times. It's very questionable. Just the talk around the table sounds like it's, you know, it's really going to be very complex and very costly to the city. You know, many people in our town don't even know what Nichols Creek is about. They haven't heard about it. It's not been discussed a lot at city council meetings. When it has brought up at city council meetings, it's usually very deep into the agenda. Where most people, if it's a 3-hour meeting, they've already checked out. I mean, it's brought up at times after the evaluation of the city clerk that Nichols Creek came up. So just the fact that many people in our town don't even know what Nichols Creek is, and we're talking about jumping in here. We've already done this capacity analysis that's very iffy. It's very concerning to me because I do consider myself a defender of keeping Mexico Beach small, and I don't see it happening in this direction.
I would like to speak one more, because you brought that up, I figured the audience was to speak. You know, this development is, it's coming, whether we're a part of it or we're not, from what I can gather. And I've been here, I'm with you at Mexico Beach, I've been here a long time. Once again, I was born here, raised here. Do we want, because there has been talk, Gulf County has apparently, or Port St. Joe has said they're willing to provide the services. Right now, it's in Bay County. And I really want people, us and everybody, I mean, we're still a long ways off of this, but if we don't get in front of it, it's coming. Do we want them to develop under Bay County rules and give the services to Gulf County or Port St. Joe? I don't know that yet. There's a lot of questions with that. But they're gonna be there, and it's in our backyard. And they're gonna use these services here. Maybe not sewer and water, but they're gonna be using the roads, everything else, the beach. I just don't know. It is something we have to address. Do we want it or do we not? We were asked to, we needed to do this report. We are the service provider. You know, that's where we're at now, and we'll get that into that, Ms. Linda, you know, further down the road.
Yeah, I
But
think
it's,
that, yeah.
I would like a list there's all kind of stuff before the annexation comes, if that happens, that, you know, I don't have Bay County's heights right now. I know they're a lot different than our heights. I know there's a lot of things that can happen that we may not have absolutely any say-so over.
I think as we evaluate this and as we start to look at how we move forward on it, we have to make some infrastructure changes in Mexico Beach. There's no doubt. We can talk capacity. We're not at capacity as of today. We can go over all that. We've proven that. We've gathered the numbers. We know what we're doing there. We've already started conversations about if we need additional capacity, how do we do that? What percentage we need to be at to start to ask for that? And it's along the lines about 80%. I think one of the things for Mexico Beach, and maybe this is just me personally, but I think that as I look at Mexico Beach, I look at the landlocked situation of how big we're gonna be. And I see that there's not much land available right now to build on in Mexico Beach. You look at 386, we're done there. You can't build in the ocean, and we got Tyndall West. So the only thing we have is north. And we know that north is owned pretty much by St. Joe Company and also the Mormons. So to think that they're gonna build there, maybe, maybe not. Think they're gonna sell to developers, maybe, maybe not. But really, we're starting to get down to where there's only certain pieces of land in Mexico Beach to build on. And I think that the Nickel Creek pretty much puts that at a head. So do we plan to be that big in the future? Maybe that's what we do. There's a plus to having that developer in Bay County. There's a plus about that. I mean, the revenues alone for the city is a big deal. Control, heights, we have restrictions. So I think there's a reason why, and I agree, the only reason I think through all of that is because I believe the same thing as Mr. Adams believed, that this will happen whether we do it in Bay County or Gulf County. It's gonna get done. So do we start to build our city around that and embrace it? Or do we just let it happen?
Just to follow on this discussion, because a lot of folks in the audience and in the town are concerned about this, and the larger issue is there's questions going around in the community. Why do we have a City of Mexico Beach government? Why don't we just get rid of the city government and turn it over to the county? This is using this Nickel Creek development as a perfect example. Let me just put a pointed number on what Mr. Adams and Mayor Wolf just said. So I also believe that this Nickel Creek development is coming. It's not an if, it's a when. So the question is do we want to bring them into the city where they enjoy our services and become a part of our town, or do we turn it over to the county, whether that's Bay County or Gulf County? Mexico Beach Land Development Code residential maximum height is 32 feet. We've all seen the plans of the Nickel Creek development, the planned community with the phase 1 residential and commercial, phase 2 residential, commercial. We've all seen pictures of the townhomes along the lake and away from the lake. If that is outside the city of Mexico Beach, those will be 48 feet high. If they're inside Mexico Beach, they will be 32 feet high. They're coming. So that's just a number to put with everything. if you're in the city, you operate under our land development code, and we very much enjoy having this city operate under the Mexico Beach Land Development Code. If you're out in the county, you're under county rules, and it's a lot different than what we have here.
You know, just to go on about phase one, which would be 262 townhouses. We already see many townhouses down on that end of the beach that seem to be selling really slow. So is there even gonna be a market for that amount of townhouses? Is that the look that we want for our city, more townhouses? And probably, I don't know who the developer is, but could they be of Imperia design? You know, I just don't think this is the image that people moved here for. I don't think that's the image that people come to visit here. People want it to be a quaint, small fishing village image. They're not looking to have all this come about. And to ask us to annex 136 acres, that's not just about the capacity of water and sewage. That means redevelopment of the police department, the fire department, people in the office. That's gonna cost us a lot. Mel, in a meeting that I had with him, said, oh, the city's gonna make millions and millions of dollars. It's gonna cost us millions and millions of dollars for that to happen. Is that what we want for our city? Are we not defenders of keeping Mexico Beach small, like the citizens want us to do? Most of the citizens don't even know that this is coming about, because it's not been brought up publicly many times. But there's been several meetings, but there's been many meetings about it, but it hasn't been made public. I would suggest any and all meetings regarding Nichols Creek come to this table for everybody to be aware of what's being said.
I'd agree with that. But, and also, I just want to step back. We're talking about, are our services, can we do that? We haven't even talked about, because there's plenty of things, I don't want to get winded, there's stuff in here about percentages of coverage of lot. There's a lot in here when it comes down to the if it's gonna be annexed, I would have questions on it, but I'm trying to keep all those
And if it's
separate.
gonna be annexed, we have the ability to vote yea or nay on it.
Yes, that's what I mean,
There we go.
and that's what we're talking about, the services, and I don't even think, we're not taking it, we're not here to vote.
Not at all.
Follow up with what Ms. Hamilton said. I don't think there's anyone at the table, and if you went door to door in the city, no one wants to change our quality of life here. But I also understand what state and federal law ensures property owners of, and they have rights. And we can pretend to build a wall, to Mr. Fasaji's comment, and say, you do what you want to do over there, but we're not going to be a part of it. But they are going to be driving up and down our streets. And the fact that we're the closest emergency provider, our sheriff and our fire department is going to, if they have an emergency, they're going to go service it. Because Bay County's not going to build a fire station over there. So, love it, hate it, you can, whatever side of that fence you want to get on, or you can manage it. And I think the best we can hope for is to plan that it is going to happen. And then the vote to either annex or not, I mean, that's what happened on the west end. We voted as a council to annex that, correct? That vote will come in due time. But as I said earlier, I think leading up to that, we need to plan as a council and as a city to fix what we need to fix on our infrastructure side, regardless of when that happens. And you notice I said when, not if. I believe that will happen personally before Sweetwater ever happens. That's just my personal belief. I don't have any documentation to prove that. That's just a feeling.
You know, we have some history to look at. I mean, history that Sugar Sands was not annexed in. Are there some regrets over that? Yes, it's there. There's some regrets over that, absolutely. So that's a little bit of history. How about 9 years ago, we purchased 150 gallons of sewer capacity. You know how much that cost us a year? It cost us $100,000 a year, over $900,000 to date. and we've never even got within 20% close to it. So there's some history here, we need to plan, I agree with Mr. Jason and Mr. Basagi, I mean, and Steve and Ms. Hamilton. We have to plan for it. It's gonna happen. I would hope that, I think, Ms. Hamilton, I hear that you don't want it at all. I don't think that's gonna happen.
We have a choice, we can vote.
Here we can, yes, but not
Yeah.
in Gulf County we can't.
And another thing I'd like to bring up too, almost every day in the news, Tallahassee is talking about ending or at least reducing property taxes. How is that gonna affect these 368 houses down the road? That's part of Nichols
Have you
Creek.
looked
How is
into
that
that?
gonna affect all of us? Right now, there's about 386 people in our town that do homestead exemption.
It's about
Even if that got
15%.
deleted, that's a big chunk of money towards our budget.
It's
of how we
about
run the city.
15%, we still receive 85%. Of
It
a half
still,
million
it still
dollars,
adds
that's a
up
lot,
because that's an
$850,000.
undecided in the work situation that could affect us
Can
regardless.
I had one more question, Laura may be able to answer this, or, was there something that came out through the state, and I've heard this somewhere, that you have to provide the services now? It's not a, you know where I'm going?
There's been legislation in recent years that has not passed that has said that you cannot, if you provide service outside of your municipal boundary, you cannot charge the extra 25%
Okay.
rate for those outside of the city. There has been legislation not passed, but introduced in recent years that would prevent you from charging that
So
extra 25%.
that's not in place yet?
But it's not been adopted.
Okay, that's what I had heard some things that were gonna change.
Okay, do we want to take some questions from the audience? I mean, this is just a discussion, so are there any comment from the audience on this? It's an open discussion for us. Come on up, sir.
Alex Hogan, 7th Street. You know, I'm not really a native of Mexico Beach. I'm a transient. I moved here in 2015. And then in 2018, Hurricane Michael hit. And I can recall Mayor Kathy at that time, right there on the tennis courts, sat there and says, "We're gonna keep this a Mayberry. We're not gonna expand." Well, where are we today? We've got Sugar Sands, we've got all these other places that are building up around us, being annexed. We're no longer a Mayberry. And yes, we can control it. We let Bay County or Gulf County take it over. Why do we have to keep on sucking it up? We always say it's coming. Well, let it come. Who cares? I don't really care what happens. East, north, west, or south. I'm concerned with our current property as it is today. That's why I moved here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? On this one.
Lisa Logan, Mexico Beach. Numerous things, but I'll try to keep it short. Hopefully this is just the opening discussion of this, because there is a tremendous amount that must be talked about in public before any kind of decisions are made. We have been telling the council, and the council knows, that people are concerned about our sewer. This report disturbed me greatly. It's in black and white that we have tremendous insufficiencies. We have a list that was supplied by the administrator several months ago of about 12 or 13 developments that had applied for an assortment of permits. A lot of those have lapsed, but there's nothing to stop those developments from not coming back in. We already said just 4 weeks ago that the two big issues were fixing the force main going to Tyndall and moving MX1 off the canal, because we have so much trouble when it spills. It used to say in the LDR, and I'll admit that this came up just a few minutes ago, and I have not looked, I'll have to check it, but the LDR used to say that any upgrades to a sewer system to accommodate a development had to be paid for by the developer. Somebody, y'all just said that the 1.4 million rough estimate would be the city's to pay. That goes directly onto our water bills. I'm not in favor of any development raising our water bills in order to upgrade the system, because that is not fair to all of us who pay in water right now. Gulf County has ample resources for this. There is no reason that they can't go down there. I think it's probably they don't want to because it costs more. But the bigger issue is this development will affect every piece of life in Mexico Beach, including the massive use of 15th Street, because that's really the only way to get to and from this development. Police, fire, garbage pickup, more employees to take care of things. So all of this has to be considered before anything is decided, and those discussions must be public, and a lot of them. Linda brought up the property tax. Well, yeah, that's going to be an issue. We don't know what's going to happen with that, but we will have something on the referendum or the election in November. So what's going to happen there? The major issue here is that the council here should be pushing extremely hard to get the legislature to finish that Back Beach Road, because that Back Beach Road will take this traffic out of Mexico Beach, and this development should not even be considered until that Back Beach Road is finished. Now, I was shocked right after the hurricane that was not an issue, that never came up with the legislature. But y'all should be pushing for that, because they need to go on that road instead of coming down 15th Street. So there's a whole lot going on here, and I don't like the fact that this is going on without the public knowing about it. We only get these tiny little trickles, and then suddenly we get this report. The way I read the report, we shouldn't be doing this. There's a whole lot going on here, and y'all need to work harder at bringing this to the table and engaging the public more.
I got one comment. I have to comment to Lisa. Lisa, I just wanted to let you know.
I'm sorry.
We put a task order that was voted on at this table to have Anchor do this report.
Yes.
I received this report the same time everybody else did. So I just wanted to let you know and the public know that there's nothing had been decided behind any doors or anything like that.
Thank you. And I'm thinking, maybe what she's suggesting too, it just hasn't been, Nichols Creek has not been presented on the agenda very many times. So that particular item, yes, we did vote to go ahead and do an analysis of it. Doesn't look so great, that analysis. But what I think the concern is, so many people of the city are even unaware of the word Nichols Creek. So if we make it more of a public instead of private meetings between developers or whoever's involved in this project, that maybe people would understand a little bit better, and then they can give their opinion of what they think of it.
Not really an argument, but I think that's where we're headed. I think this was the first. And if we don't decide on this, I guess there'll be no more discussions about annex, because,
Yeah,
and not that we're deciding this today, but I do believe everything should be in the public.
Yeah,
I do too.
and I just need to add, I need to push back on the idea that the public has not been aware of Nickel Creek. Nickel Creek came up on our agenda as early as August of last year. It was an agenda item. It may have been late in the meeting, but I got inundated by 3 neighbors the next day saying, "What is Nickel Creek? What is this 386?" Some of them didn't even know the name of it. They just knew where it was. It was 386, and I got deluged by calls. What is this? We don't want it. So I pushed back on the fact that Nickel Creek has not been made available to the public until now. I recognize that some of our meetings can go long, and when we get a 145-page packets like today, it's hard for the public, it's hard for us to go through 145 pages. It's hard for the public to sift through it. But I push back on the fact that it's not been known.
And then actually, I had to request that Nichols Creek be presented early in the agenda because in the past, it has been presented very late. And once again, by the time we go to a 3-hour meeting, most people have phased out or stopped listening, left the room, no longer listening to their YouTube. So that's another reason why they haven't known anything about Nichols Creek.
Miss Linda, you're trying to imply that we're trying to hide something. Ain't nobody
What I'm trying to imply, Mayor,
That's
is
sad.
that it needs to be more public information presented at this table for everyone to hear.
There's a lot of preliminary work that's done before it comes to the table.
Well, obviously, according to this packet, there's been a lot of
And one more comment. I have been curious to know what the development's gonna look like for months. When I, show me a layout, show me the number of homes, show me the commercial space. I finally got that on Thursday, when this packet was released to the city council and was published on the city website. So that's another pushback to say that we as a city are being as public as possible. So I got this packet. I saw my first engineering drawing 4 days ago.
Like the rest of us. Mayor, I'd like to make one comment, and then hopefully we can move on. I think this report is beneficial regardless of what Nickel Creek turns into, whether they're part of us or whether they're not part of us. I think it was a valid task order. I'm glad we did it. I also believe, like Ms. Logan said, this council owes the community some due diligence on the legislative side, not just for the Back Beach Road, but for other issues with our town. Other issues that have been lingering since Hurricane Michael. So kudos to Ms. Logan for bringing up, let's pursue some legislative action to help when this happens.
Any other comment? Rob?
Rock Crease, MB, just like Lisa, and he said, all these meetings I've been to since the hurricane, with the paper company and everything else, nobody in this town wanted to get bigger. We've had special meetings over across the street at the hotel on the vision of Mexico Beach. Nobody wants to get bigger. Just an example, I don't know why everybody thinks that getting bigger is better. I mean, I've been in Florida since the 60s. My wife was born in St. Pete. I've been in that area for 50 years. I've seen where St. Pete tried to get bigger, annex it. But there's a lot of these little towns around there, Treasure Island, Madeira Beach, all these other little places. They were like, no, we don't want to be annexed. They stayed where they were. And there's nothing, you got all these little towns around St. Pete. Everybody thinks St. Pete is like half of Pinellas County. It's not. It's at the end. You got all these little places. If you look at the beach communities all along the beach, they're all separate places. They stayed. They didn't want to grow. And, the thing I said, when you grow, bigger infrastructure, you got more and more and more. I mean, we got 3 developments on 15th Street that haven't gone anywhere. You got the big one down here, you got another one. The paper company, after they put their thing in there, phase 5, I think, is on the water side. They even said back then, the city doesn't have the infrastructure for them to build until more stuff is put in. I mean, now you're looking at, just a couple of weeks ago, millions of dollars. Where are we getting this from to replace the pipe and everything else? I just don't understand why people over here are going to use the beach whether we own them or not. And just keeping this city the size it is, you can plan what you need. You don't have to keep growing. You can just maintain what you have. And that's what everybody here in Mexico Beach wants. They don't want to get bigger. I mean, I've been to all the meetings. I've never seen anybody sit up here and say, yeah, we want to get bigger, bigger, bigger. You annex down here at Sugar Creek. The first Sugar Creek part 1 was a screw up. That should have been different. They needed the water and sewage. So we sold it to them. Phase 2, that guy was arrogant as hell when he was in here. But yet you annexed that place. He needed water and sewage. What would have happened if you said no? He'd have to get it from Bay County or not build, one of the two. You can do that. You don't have to give anybody anything. Let the county take all this other stuff over here. If Bay County has to put in water or sewage, they're going to run a pipe somewhere to get there. And then once that infrastructure is put in, there's no reason in the future that Bay County won't be selling stuff to us if we need it. You don't have to go all the way down to Tyndall or somewhere. I mean, in the future, there's probably going to be a sewage system over here somewhere if they keep getting bigger, because all the way out to Overton they got plans to build. just leave Mexico Beach alone and leave it like it is. I mean, that's the best, that's what everybody wants. And every place I've ever seen it grows, oh, it's great, right away, we get more tax money. Yeah, 5 years later, 10 years later, now we gotta replace this and this and this. Sorry, but our millage rate has to go up a little bit so we can pay for all this repairs for everything we're maintaining. I've seen it over and over. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Lorraine Lindsay on Florida. You know, I was born and raised in Panama City, and I get where we are. I get we can't stop it, because I saw it. However, I do want to caution everybody. It's one thing when we talk about providing this infrastructure, okay? And this is going to cost us some money. I get that. I've been in wastewater business, was in a wastewater business for a long time, and it's expensive. And yeah, you get impact fees, but you got to remember something else. When you got those impact fees, that's a one-shot deal. Then you got to maintain that stuff. And then you got to increase the size of this city, employees, all these things. Nothing in water and wastewater stays the same. You got to constantly upgrade. You got to constantly maintain it. And it takes a lot of folks to do that, okay? And it takes people that know what's going on and are able to do that. So when we talk about impact fees, that's just, you know, one shot. What about the continued maintenance of we build and we build and we build? And that's what scares me about these things, is how are we preparing for that? Over a year ago, I remember, don't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can go back a year. And here's the thing. We talked about we were going to look at and do something about the LDC. There's a whole lot of bumps in the road with that LDC. If you've ever spent time reading it, and heaven knows I've read it and spent more time with it than I really would like to. But we have some issues we need to straighten out. And before we jump off the deep end, we need to be sure that we've got something in place that is going to be what we want for our town, what we are willing to put up with, and we've not done that background work. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened. That's all gone away, you know, but we have some issues. We have some issues regarding how we proceed forward with this. And I think that we really need to start taking stock. And I'd like to see this town and you as our leaders to grab onto this. And, you know, if it's true that it's going to come and we've got to deal with it, then by golly, we need to grab this bull by the horns, okay? Because otherwise, it's going to happen to us, and it's going to cost us a lot of money. So, you know, think about that as you consider all these different things. And remember, we said we were going to straighten out the LDC. I haven't seen anything done to do that. You've got some more things coming up on your agenda regarding some problems that we have. You know, right down the street from me is a new built with 8 bedrooms and 2 parking places. How's that going to work? These are the kinds of things we need to get in place so that we protect ourselves and our community. And I think that's what we really need to say, is we want to protect ourselves and our community, financially as well as quality of life. So that's
Thank
all
you.
I got.
Anybody else in the audience? Yes, ma'am.
Shelby Bush, Palm Street, 130 Palm Street. I understand what you're saying about pushback. I have not heard anything about Nichols Creek until recently. That may be on me, but I don't think I'm in the minority. I agree with Mr. Hogan. I agree with Lisa. I agree with these people saying, what happens if Panama City or Bay County or Gulf does it? But why do we have to take on something new when we haven't fixed what we have here? About our community growing, it may grow, but we could still stay small within our community. And I don't think, and I may be wrong, Linda, that you were accusing anybody of behind the scenes meetings, because I certainly hope even in preliminary discussions that this, something as big as this, would come to this table so anybody that comes to this meeting would hear it. So I'm glad to hear that, but you know, take a minute and listen to what people are saying here. I realize that you're saying that you had 2 neighbors call you immediately. I guarantee you, if you went door to door, many people have not heard of this. We need to get it out there. We need to discuss it. We need to take a step back, and I think we also really need to fix the things that need fixed first. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience?
Morning, Thad Bostwick, 41698. Just wanted to express similar comments in terms of keeping Mexico Beach as it is. We moved here for the exact same reasons. Lived in large communities, have been coming to Mexico Beach since I was a kid, and appreciated what quality of life had to offer here. The size, the scope, the demeanor, the atmosphere, everything we want to remain as close as possible to what we came here for. So I found out about Nichols Creek through Bay County. I had to solicit Bay County to get information from them to understand what was going on with Nichols Creek. So it's very detailed. It was March of last year when this was in front of the Bay County zoning committee. I've got the document, and that's how I found out about it. So it's very concerning. I understand if it's going to come. I don't know what it would cause Gulf County to facilitate this. Would they vote it in? And if that doesn't happen, does this community and this project even exist? If we can't do it and if Gulf County can't do it, I don't know where Gulf County stands on this. I have no idea. I'd like to understand their position, but I felt compelled to come today to at least express my concerns about where the community is going in terms of growth and the infrastructure to support it, and the tax base that we all have seen as we rebuilt explode in terms of the impact we had as a retiree to the community. God knows that if Governor DeSantis is successful, we're certainly going to support that, and it will impact the amount of revenue that comes into all the municipalities. We need to consider that. So for me, I wanted to go on record to state, let's give this a lot of serious consideration. Annexing, just because it's coming, doesn't mean we can facilitate that and support it to the extent that it makes it easy for this developer. And I want to make sure that the council does everything we can to get all the local input before we vote on that annex. I know it's a long ways away, or it seems to be, but we came from something non-existent to all of a sudden this exploding with the community. And I feel like we, will be kept informed, must be kept informed, and have a say in the final annexation decision. And again, want to keep the community as it's been. Guard the gate, I believe, is a phrase that's been used in the past. And again, I really am a strong believer in that. So hopefully we will remain citizens and residents of this community. That's why we're here. It's our forever location, and we planned it for a lot of years to make it that. And the reason for that is to keep it similar to what we have seen. Commercial growth, we all know we could use some. Residential growth, based on what we've seen over the last few years since we've been here, it's been explosion. And all of the services that come with growth has to be taken into consideration, police, fire, all besides infrastructure. But I do support the individual talking about the Back Beach Road. I've been hearing about that well before I moved here. It's always been, this is gonna be great for the community. It's gonna be exactly what we need. 98 is we're gonna have traffic, we already have street lights going up right in front of my house, right in my yard, well, in front of my property. With no say-so, no involvement. 98 continues to be directed by DOT without a lot of our input. I call the city, why are they putting up street lights? Nobody knows, it's a DOT thing. So I just see that 98 is a precious pathway that we cannot disturb, both at the public beach and 98, and the amount of traffic at rush hour, I have to pull out in it, so I recognize it. It is becoming more and more, and 300 and some odd homes is what, another 30% growth in the community? And I know they won't all be populated, but they'll be purchased and have Airbnbs and people, there will be an influx of people. 98 cannot, I think, withstand that level of growth. So a lot of things to consider, and again, thanks for your time. I didn't mean to take so much, but I do want to make sure that you understand. I think it's the consent of the people that live here, not the people that own property here, but people that live here day in and day out, want to keep the community as it is. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience before we move on here? I don't want to call anybody out. What I want to do is make sure that there's an offer from me as the mayor to tell you that we meet here every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, twice a month. You're invited. The seats are available. The P&Z meets. You can go to that meeting a couple times a month. Our website is very informative. Plus documentation is posted on that constantly. So I'm not calling anybody out, but I'm telling you as citizens, get engaged. If you want to know what's going on, look into it. You don't need to make the commitment that these people have at the council. I understand that. Everybody has a life, but if you want to know what's going on in the city, get on their website or come to a meeting once in a while. Talk to these guys out in the street, email them, wherever you want. We all have emails, we all have phones.
Yeah, I had one little just comment, and it's not a negative or against anything that was said. It's all good. But do realize that all 5 of us and everybody sitting at this table are citizens of this community. And we all have the same, hopefully, get to the same goal. We were voted in here to make tough decisions, to make decisions on behalf of the city. But in the end, we live here for a reason too. Most of us, the very same reason everybody lives here. We love Mexico Beach. It's our home. And we've been asked to sit at this table and make these decisions and try to go through everything we can to try to come up with the best decision for the beach. And that's all I'll say about that. Yes.
I've been at this game for well over 30 years, and I've negotiated with many developers in many different states. And I'm going to say something, I'm going to tick some people off. A developer will not negotiate a development order in front of the public. It's not going to happen. If a developer requests our staff to meet with them, we will accommodate that. It's not up to us as a staff to tell them no. That's what you folks are for, and the public. That's all I got.
Hey, Mayor, can I make one more comment?
Come on up.
And it has to do with what you just said. And you do live here, and you make decisions. And I have sat here in meetings, not regularly, some, and a lot of times the community says, we don't want this, but you voted anyway against what the community wanted. So my challenge to each one of you 5 members, tell me in writing, what is your vision for Mexico Beach? Because obviously that's how you make your decisions. What you envision Mexico Beach today, 5 years, 10 years. I'd like to know what your vision is. And I think the rest of us would like to know your vision, how you're making your decisions. Hopefully it's based on your vision, as well as the community's vision. Thank you.
Mexico Beach vision, right here in my book, taped on there. To preserve, protect, enhance our community's quality of life, creating memories for generations who live, work, and play in our piece of paradise. That's our vision. I believe it. Try to do the best we can. But there's laws for people that own property. So when we make decisions, it's not opinions. They're based on laws. We're held to abide by those laws. There are some things we cannot stop, and there's some things we can. We can definitely say we don't want to give Nickel Creek water, and we don't want to give it sewer. We can do that right away. Gulf County is going to give them water and give them sewer. They're going to build exactly where they wanted to build if Mexico Beach gave it to them. So what changes? We have a lot to look at, and I think we'll do that. And if there's a need for a workshop or something along that lines, we don't need to be beat up. We don't need to be yelled at. We need to have constructive conversations like I heard today. We need to know your opinion and what you would like to do as citizens. One person does not speak for this city. That's one person. That's all it is. We have to have a lot of input, so there has to be a lot of people with a lot of input. Email your council people, email the mayor, call me, whatever. Let's discuss it.
I think the suggestion of a workshop might be a good idea, since we've had it for things like shark fishing and food trucks, and this seems to be quite a more impactful issue that will affect more people. So a workshop that people could be made more aware of the Nichols Creek subject in itself would be an excellent idea, in my opinion.
And that's something we can do after we get done here and decide how we're going to move forward. That's one of the things we put on the table if we need to. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so maybe to bring this back to the table, and this issue. I guess the only thing I guess I'll finish up by saying is I'm very much interested in finding a way for the city to have for the city to not be on the hook for all the infrastructure upgrades that are estimated in this report. Ms. Logan mentioned what the LDC used to say and what it does say, and the LDC is something we have to follow, but we can also push back on the developer and ask them to share costs. So that's 1.4 million, I think, is a reasonably accurate estimate. It could go up or down by 25%. But I didn't need to hear the citizens tell us that nobody in this town is interested in having our taxes or the cost to the existing city residents go up $1 to accommodate new developments. So that's what I'm interested in learning, and we'll have more discussions in the next couple of months about options that we as a city have other than just writing a $1.4 million check or taking it out of the impact fees. The impact fees are there for a reason, and this may or may not be a good reason for doing it, but I'm interested in finding other financing options. That's all I'll say.
Okay, anything else to do before we move on?
No, just to clarify for Miss Lindsay, the LDC, we are in the middle, we had a few bumps that was supposed to get started a year ago, you're correct, there's some, but in the last, I would say, 3 to 4 months, I know P&Z has been undertaking it, and we are in a full-blown trying to get that document addressed and get it updated.
I appreciate you sharing that information, and I think it's extremely important
I do
to
too.
get that done pretty quickly,
Yeah.
because we are still having narrow streets and lack of parking, and
Yeah, I think we've,
short-term rentals are gonna choke us.
I think since the budget, I would say that was the terms that we've kind of
Good,
tried to fast track this thing more.
good.
Yeah, and we do, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Alara, we do have a recommended change to the comprehensive plan that has to go to Tallahassee. That's been submitted. We're in the 90-day.
We received that back, so we're good.
There we go. So we are actively working it. I understand everyone's patience that it may be going slower than we all want.
All right, we're moving on from that subject, that discussion. There's no need to vote on anything along here. And we'll, obviously there'll be more conversations in the future, up to including maybe doing some type of workshop. Moving on to one of the agenda items, number 3 is the lift station bypass pumps. Emily?
Good morning. Emily Thomasy, Anchor CEI. You have in front of you some change orders for the lift station bypass pumps project. This project was awarded to Razorback LLC, and we identified early on that there is some duplicate in scope between Razorback's contract and what Mainline Construction is doing for the lift station upgrades project. So these change orders represent removing that duplicate scope from Razorback's contract. And also there are some items that we identified that we can move to Mainline's contract and save some costs for the city because they're already on site mobilized, so you'll save on those mobilization costs. So we are just looking to get approval on these change orders so we can get both Razorback started and Mainline can finish their scope, and it will save the city about just over $55,000.
Just that mobilization between Razorback and Main.
Yes, well, the mobilization because Mainline's already on site, and then the duplicate items that Razorback didn't need to do because Mainline was already handling those in their scope.
Okay. Any questions from the audience on this subject? Get them to the table. Any table questions? Good.
Only question I have, and it's great, obviously we reduced it by 55,000. It's a question for the administrator. One of these items were city funded and one was FEMA.
Yes.
And we had to approve a change order for 71,000 and some change to move ahead. So is that 55,000 totally on the city side, or is that, is that some of FEMA's?
I think it's a mixture of the two. I'm not certain though. The 55 is broken up between the two. Since one of the projects, Lift Station 9 is FEMA funded, and then 11 and 13
Yeah,
are city funded.
so, yeah, if we could just.
So is the effect, your question,
yeah.
is the effect really 55 to the city? Maybe not.
That's
I'm
what
not sure
and we'll have to do that internally.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the FEMA amounts are and the federal
Yeah.
funding is.
I didn't know it was more, they are blended, I thought that was correct, but the task orders were changed for just the city stuff, what I can see.
Well, you can look at the abstract, you can figure out on the financial impacts. You're deducting 85,000 on Razorback and adding 59 for Mainline.
Yes.
So the difference is $20-some thousand to FEMA.
So that is the, okay, that is the FEMA one there.
So the net to the city would be
35-ish.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted.
All right, any other questions on that? Do you have a motion approved or denied?
I make a motion that we approve change orders for lift stations 9, 11, and 13.
Second.
A motion and a second, Tammy, take the roll, please.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
What you be in the paper industry in this place, I'll tell you that, you make a minute.
That's why I got an iPad.
No kidding. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is, excuse me, a change order for Nanook Road Lift Station. Rehab? You're still up.
I'm here, Emily Thomasy, Anchor CEI. So this is really just an update on Nanook Road Lift Station. There was a electrical panel that was installed by the city for this lift station a couple years back. And because of this upgrade to the electrical panel, that means an alternative pump is able to be used. So we worked with the pump manufacturer, we worked with the contractor to just make sure the pump meets the capacity and the needs of the city, and we were able to confirm that. So using this alternate pump, it's a decrease in the contract and a savings to the city of just over $75,000.
Are you guys up for a contract, trying to get all the...
If we can.
Good job. All right, want to open the public, any public conversation or questions on that? On the lift station and then, any at the table? Have a motion approved or denied?
Motion to approve change order 1 for the Nanook Road lift station.
I'll second it.
A motion second, take a roll, Tammy, please.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes.
Thank you.
Come on up, Laura, lot split on 121 2nd Street.
Yes, pursuant to section 3.07.00 of the Land Development Code, this is a request for you to approve to split an existing tax parcel, which is comprised of 3 recorded platted lots, identical in size. So there's, what I'm trying to say is there's 3 identical lots and 1 parcel ID number. This was heard at the planning board, the P&Z, on January 5th, and they recommended approval. The applicant has a single parcel ID number and wishes to split that directly in half to create 2 parcel ID numbers, so that 1 platted lot will be included and a half of a platted lot will be included in one side, and a half of a platted lot and a full lot will be included in the other side. So the request is to subdivide that in 2. We have checked the density requirements, and the density requirements are met. They will be allowed to put 1 maximum on each half. And so staff recommendation is for approval.
Do you have any comments from the audience or questions from the audience on 121 lot split? Careful, Rock, you're on P&Z, right?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Well, are
I
you
just
making
wanna
a
comment on
comment
P&Z.
on behalf of
Yes.
yourself individually or as a, on behalf of the planning and zoning?
Well, myself, what I heard from citizens from the P&Z board.
Okay, be cautious about giving an indication of any type of decision that you might
They're
make.
gonna, one, Rock Creek MB, P&Z board, it was approved, everybody approved the lot split. I'm sure you know the big rumor, everybody thought the condos were going in there or whatever, that was all over the internet. And once the people figured out that this is actually better because it's going to 2 instead of 3 houses that can be built there, everybody was happy. The only concern that the residents had, and I got several emails, was the fact that 2nd Street is pretty much all rentals. And as people come in, bringing big boats and, you know, these people pack in as many people as they can, there's nowhere to park, and boats are like in the street a little bit, and they were concerned about that because now it's going to get worse. And might be something that all these rental units need to know, that people can't just be parking in the city right-of-ways and leaving boats and everything else, but they don't know that. So maybe it's something You guys need to look at, to tell these rental people, they need to put packets together with a little more information on what people can do for the city and not do. That was their biggest concern, was parking, because the whole street is pretty much rentals. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Give them to the table, any comments from the table?
I do share some of the same concerns, because that particular area, you know, there has recently been a house that has either 8 or 9 bedrooms. And, you know, the rule is, you know, you only need 2 legal parking spots. You know, maybe we need to back up and start thinking of, as these mega rental places are being built, maybe we need to start thinking about, we need to provide more parking spots for these situations. So, you know, I mean, if it's, you know, whatever we need to do, is that something we need to be thinking about before we start approving more and more lot splits? We don't know what kind of house they're gonna build here, and I guess that's not our business to know at this time. But if it turns out to be another 8 or 9 bedroom rental house, each of them, then where are they gonna park? Because there's no room to park, and 2 parking spots is not gonna be ample when they rent out to 2 and 3 families.
Where is that 8-bedroom, 2 parking spot?
It's right there on the corner of 2nd and 9th.
It is on Second.
Yeah, and they built a pool and all that, and it looks like very little places to park. But my understanding it was a 9-bedroom house. So, but, you know, that could be multiple people renting at the same time. Where are they gonna park? All over the right-of-way on the sides? You know, people aren't even gonna be able to see when they try to get out on 98. So could this possibly be another potential, we're gonna build a really big rental? We don't know that. But maybe we should get ahead of ourselves when we're thinking about these rentals and say, hey, if you're gonna build a multi-bedroom rental, then you're gonna need more than 2 parking spots. That's just something we need to be thinking about.
Just on that note, not to, I mean, the good thing here is they could build 3 houses right now. And
Well, they could after the passage next week of the
yeah,
ordinance.
but they had
Yeah.
3 built, they have 3 lots.
They have 3 lots.
So at least
They're going
with
down.
this, you know, and then you take the 30% of, that's the pervious area that they can cover there, you know, they will hopefully produce more land per house. You know what I'm saying on this particular one, but I get what you're saying. And that's coming through the LDR, I think, as far as parking requirements on other things, but, this particular, I would hope that it would generate more usable space on that person's lot for their stuff. Yeah.
Good.
I'd just like to say that I know you're intimately involved with the review of the LDR. And like Ms. Hamilton, there needs to be a component in there that when you exceed a certain number of bedrooms, you're required to have additional parking. You know, I think that's just a no-brainer. I mean, we see parking's one of the biggest problems we got in the city. And, you know, 36-foot boats and trucks parked along the right-of-way is problematic.
And if that's something we, you know, I mean, as individuals, if you have a note you wanna get passed to the P&Z, let's get it to the city administrator and have that question asked. And I think that's the way to approach it is, do we do it based on bedrooms? Do we do it currently it's based on a lot. A lot gets 2 parking places. If you wanna change it, make that suggestion, get it to the city administrator so he can bring it to P&Z and that group could look at it and then they come to us and we'll approve
I'll put it in writing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and just to be clear, everything that we're asking for that we're maybe not doing today with land use restrictions goes into the land, it goes into the land development code, right?
Yeah, any
That-
changes will need to be
Yes,
made.
that is the
Yes.
vehicle, and we have been working on it
Yes.
for a while with some starts and stops. Yeah, so that's where it goes. I just want to say, whoever started the rumor about this being a condo, they clearly didn't read our current land development code.
Shame on you.
Because, and maybe this was the last and final backstop, but it was the density restriction that should have never started that condo rumor, because condos are not allowed according to the existing land development code.
And I do want to comment, sorry if you're done, Eric, on that. I know we're not dealing with that now, we need to move on and do with this, but that is one thing in the LDR, and just to tell people, I don't even think the word condominium should be in the general residential. That's what probably triggered that they could put condos there, but then if you do the homework on the density, it would never do it, but the wording is in there under usage.
Yeah,
So
I'm
just
not
to-
trying to go down a rabbit hole, but
No,
I don't think the word condominium should be in there anyway, because
No.
it's an ownership issue.
Yeah.
It's either a rental, an apartment, or it's a condo, it's ownership. It should be a multifamily structure. That should be the term
Yeah,
used.
anyway.
Yeah.
All right, again,
Yeah.
if you got something for P and Z, let's get it to them. That's the vehicle to make this happen, guys. So, same with citizens. If you've got something, you know we're working on it right now. Get it to P and Z and let them make some decisions. Yes, sir. Just real
That
quick.
was, if I brief, that was discussed, the amount of bedrooms was brought up, and I asked Mel to put that on a future agenda. That was discussed at the last P and Z board.
I think
So-
Mr. Cox said he was gonna go ahead and give him a note, so we'll use that process and
Yeah,
go forward with that.
he's already aware of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good deal. Anything else on the table? We have a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion that we approve the lot splits from 3 to 2 at 121 Second Street.
From 1 to 2.
From 1 to 2, from one parent parcel.
Yes.
Yes, to 2.
There's 3 lots in one parcel, so they
Okay.
want to take the
Okay.
one tax parcel and make it 2 tax parcels.
Okay, we got a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, go ahead and take roll, Tammy, please.
Ms. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. Moving the next one on the agenda, ordinance 875. Overlay district, second reading.
Yes, this is the second reading. You had a first reading last month in December regarding the creation of the section in the code addressing overlay districts, and specifically the Mexico Beach Shopping Center Overlay District. The change you see here today before you is that's different from the last month's version, is that we did change the language at the bottom of the first page of the Exhibit A that talks about the boundary. So it will be condensed to 30th Street as we discussed at the last meeting, and the map also reflects that boundary. So that is the only change from the version that you saw in last month's hearing. Everything else is the same. It creates the district, it creates the area of applicability, it exempts parking, and has no mention of stormwater, just for the record.
We're gonna open that up for a motion to read 875 by title only.
I'll make a motion we read ordinance 875 by title only.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to read 875 by title only, please.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
I'll have to abstain.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes.
Ordinance 875. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the city's land development code, creating a section entitled Overlay Districts in the Mexico Beach Shopping Center Overlay Districts by adding section 2.1200 with subsections and map 2.12, repealing ordinance number 540 and providing a general repeal, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, liberal construction and codification, and providing for an effective date.
Laura, can you rerun that exhibit A? You lost the underline under the.
Yeah, it wasn't cooperating with me underneath the second, there's 2 letters of.
Second and the TH.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna fix that, because I tried to before I sent it over. It won't. It won't underline
Maybe if you
the-
make them regular.
The superscript. I
not
could make them
superscript,
regular. Yeah,
make 'em regular.
good.
But it should be underlined.
Okay. Good. We'll go ahead and open to the public for the overlay district, second reading. Are there any comments about ordinance 875 from the audience? Public? There's no comments, we'll go ahead and close. Open to discussion at the table. Got it all done in the first reading, huh? No comments at the table, do we have a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve ordinance 875.
With the underlining.
Motion to approve ordinance 875 with the the underlying error fix.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, take a roll please, Tammy.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Abstain.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. Okay, we're moving on to number 7, ordinance 879, 5-year CIP, second reading.
Yes, this is the second reading of the update to the capital improvements element of the comprehensive plan regarding table 9.2, the 5-year capital improvement schedule, which is taking the city's budget that was adopted in September and transposing those items that are affiliated with level of service standards and putting them into this document, into this table accordingly. Since the update has not been conducted in several years, we should, and this is on me, we should be doing this every fall after you update your budget to take what's from that budget regarding level of service standards and putting them into the capital improvement schedule and the comprehensive plan. So this is just making sure we do that this year.
Okay, we're on a second reading on that. Do we have a motion for read by title only 879?
Motion to read ordinance 879 by title only.
Second it.
Thank you. Take the roll, please.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes.
Ordinance 879, an ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach adopting an updated 5-year capital improvement schedule 2026 to 2030, providing for repealer, severability, and correction of scrivener's errors and providing for an effective date.
Any comment from the public? We close the public. Any discussion at the table? The second reading? No comment, look for a motion to approve or deny.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 879, the 5-year CIP.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, take a roll please.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. Moving on to ordinance 876. We need some more information on this that we requested at the original meeting. We had requested some information from Alora, I believe,
Yep.
and that hasn't been gathered yet.
It is, I can probably get that to you by Thursday for the next meeting.
So I'd suggest we just go ahead and move it to the next meeting. Is that good at council?
Continue the reading to the next meeting.
Okay, so we don't have to read it, we'll just go ahead and continue it to the next meeting and
Correct.
take it over from there. Okay?
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, that would be good for the record.
Motion to continue the
The second reading.
second reading. Okay. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we continue the second reading of ordinance 876 to the next city council.
I'll second it.
A motion second, take a roll, please.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Fasagi?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Time to talk some trash, huh? So, we'll move on to item number 9, which is ordinance 881, sanitation 96-gallon cans, first reading. Mr. Mel?
Your Honor, we had a need to change this ordinance to reflect the implementation of the 96-gallon cans, and we tried to simplify the ordinance as much as possible. In our haste, there's a couple paragraphs we need to strike out the strikeout. In other words, on page 6, the 2 bottom paragraphs, we do need to keep in there, because in paragraph number 5, it talks about in certain multifamily residences shall be required to use dumpsters instead of individual trash cans. Multifamily developments containing 6 or more units per building or in the entire development, if built or developed as a unified development, in the discretion of the city shall be required to use 1 dumpster per 18 units. In other words, we do have a couple of HOA areas of joined properties that do use a dumpster in lieu of the cans, and this allows for that to happen, and the residents will pay the standard residential rates per unit instead of paying the dumpster fee. Also in paragraph 6, it talks about the large multifamily development and utilize. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but here's the bottom line. We do have the apartments in Salt Creek that does use a compactor. And what happens there, we get charged a compactor fee, and then the HOA reimburses us through their own assessment of each individual apartment for their fees to take care of that cost. So we need to keep in mind, keep 5 and 6 open so we can proceed with that. Only other thing of note is the fact that we do say in here a number of times that when it comes to the pickup of the refuse as well as yard debris, that you have to keep that on your own property. And the reason we want that is because we do have instances where people from the outside go to empty lots and dumps their refuse on those areas. We are aware of a number of areas or a block that does have a communal dump site in their own little areas out of convenience and making their own property look better. But we're just trying to make this right, do right by the city as a whole. The intent of this whole thing is not to get the natives restless. I was here in the 2017 trash suggestions, and it was not pretty. The natives did have the torches and pitchforks out. The intent is not to get to that way. What we want is constructive ideas from the public and the board so we can get this thing nailed down. So take it away, man.
With that said, do we need to rewrite this in those pages before we do the first reading, or do we get moving?
No, it doesn't sound like you're looking to necessarily change the substantive part of this ordinance, so I think we can go ahead and have the first reading. There were a couple of other capitalization things that I saw after this initial draft was sent.
So we can do the first reading, make those changes, come back to the second?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'll need to move those underlined paragraphs probably to a different section than what they're written now. And I did find a typo on page 7. I think it should be 2 96-gallon containers per unit, and then that's in 2B, and then 3 should be section 51.04A3.
What page was that on?
This is still on 7. We just lost an A because if you look at the prior section, it's A3 is outlining the times for the containers.
Since there seems to be so much having to change this and change that, why don't we wait till we get the correct format of that ordinance before we even do a reading?
That's up to you all.
I think these are typos that we don't need to hold
Yeah,
up the first.
I think at the table, good suggestion, but I think that's why I asked that question first. Should we move forward, and then we should move forward on the first reading.
Because moving forward, but part of this, getting this enacted is the containers are supposed to be here by the end of.
Late January.
Couple weeks. So we should have the second reading and
Late January.
possibly the motion to adopt by the next council meeting.
Because you need an ordinance in place before you roll the cans.
Correct.
But, and I'd just like to make a statement at the table. I've gotten a couple of emails.
You guys hold it for a minute, please? Thank you.
A couple of emails regarding why we're doing this and keeping trash in-house. And my response to people, one person stopped me on the street and asked me about it. I think as a council, we've made it pretty clear that we're doing it really for two reasons. Number one, we're trying to make it easier on the employees and not have them lifting trash cans. And also, as a revenue generator for rental units who generate a lot of trash, once again, to make the department financially solvent year to year. That there's no immediate mandate to privatize or anything like that. The 96-gallon cans is just to make it universally easier for our sanitation workers and make our city look better.
Yes, and this topic came up during budget season.
Correct.
When we were looking at expenditures and line items, and the city is always looking for ways to cut costs and save money and lower the millage rate. But, I mean, the way I remember the discussion going from the budget aspect is that this was a significant cost center. It was costing the city a lot of money, and we needed to do something to reduce that risk without just jumping to the end that a lot of communities do, is they just outsource it. And I don't think we necessarily want to do that. We didn't mention that as something we can cut costs by just outsourcing it, and boom, done. I don't think we want to do that, because we want to continue to provide somewhat personalized trash pickup services for the city of Mexico Beach. We want to do that. But this is a step towards that, and it gives us options, but it also saves the city a significant cost. We did go ahead and buy a trash truck that is a capital expenditure that is part of this decision. But then also, again, it is safer for our city workers, and we owe that to them.
All right, so we're in the first reading. Ms. Helms, I want to at least ask you, I just don't want you to think we want to go right to not taking care of what you said. I mean, I agree it'd be easier to rewrite and come back, but
Time element.
because of the time of them coming in 1,900 cans, we can't put 1,900 cans in that backyard back there. So we have to have a plan together here pretty quick. So if we go ahead and do our first reading now, we'll be prepared for it on the next 2 weeks.
And also, Mayor, just to address Ms. Hamilton's concerns, these changes are minor. If this was a whole-scale rewrite and we all came with our own red line copies and there's a whole mess of problems, we should probably have it fixed.
Well, we have a second reading, so there may be some more input.
Right.
Well, one thing you need to notice too, Mayor, that all the recycling parts are being taken out. I mean, while you have a statutory mandate to try to cooperate with the county on recycling, any recycling program they have, it's not a mandate, so to speak. So if you decide that the city wants to get in a recycling program, or if you decide that you want to wholesale, maybe allow that to be done by other providers, it would be a good idea to probably have a separate section on recycling that would then be added back in, maybe to a different chapter or whatever. But it would need to be added in with more specifics that you all determine that you want.
So don't throw the recycling wording away so quick.
Well, I'm just saying, it's in there and it's being stricken, but if you want to really have recycling or allow recycling, then you're gonna need to put some language back in about recycling.
But
Can't we, I think recycling should be a separate.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it could come back as a real separate provision.
If we can do that at any,
In a future ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole ordinance. Let's get to move on. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a motion to read this, open it to the public, close the public, go through our discussion and go from there. Is there a motion to read 881 by title only?
I'll make a motion to read ordinance 881 by title only.
I'll second it.
No motion, second, take a roll, please. Amy.
Mr. Vasagi?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes.
Ordinance 881. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending certain portions of Chapter 51 of the Code of Ordinances relating to sanitation service, providing for inclusion in the code, repeal of conflicting provisions, severability, correction of scrivener's errors and local construction, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, we're gonna head and open that up to the public. There's 12 pages on the ordinance. Any questions? Anybody? Come on.
Rock Crease, MB. Two questions I have, well, actually three. These barrels, can I drill holes in them and put cables on with latches to keep the bears out of them?
Can you drill holes?
Yeah, because I mean, can we modify them? Or do we have to leave them like they are?
We haven't discussed that, but can we just not answer that and open that up
Okay.
for the council to?
It's a great question, I had the
Yeah.
same question.
The yard debris, you just changed that.
Just bear, you just wanna go bear proof, not so much what you just wanna go bear proof, right? Bear proof it.
Okay.
Is that what you're doing?
as far as the cables, bear proofing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as drilling a hole, so you can do like,
Yeah, put a cable through with a latch and everything, and, you know, to the bears, because, I mean, 96 gallons of garbage is a bunch of it, and especially for rental units. And nobody's gonna be lifting a 96 can out of a container thing, you know, for
Okay.
garbage day.
All right, we got it.
Okay?
Next.
Putting trash on empty lots. I used to have 6 empty lots around me, now I got 2. I mow my grass, I bag the grass and take it across the street and dump it, and the Cyclops truck comes around and picks it up. If I have to do that in my front yard, I might as well take a 6-foot section of my yard and throw it out, because when a Cyclops truck comes around, they drop the thing down there and pick it up, and they'll pick up my yard along with it.
they'll scrape the grass out.
Yeah, they'll
With the
rip all
lawn.
that out. And I noticed you guys have been coming around with the trash trucks picking up yard debris. I've never seen that before, but I've noticed that in the last month.
Our Public Works.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you get rid of the Cyclops truck, or are you doing it yourself now?
Well, I think that's a whole other discussion, because we stopped that contract, but
Okay.
then we had the tornado and we had to
Mhm.
reinside it. I mean, so,
The reason why I'm asking that, because everywhere I've ever lived, I've bagged grass, and so it ain't, you know, in the yard, and I put it in 55-gallon trash bags. The Cyclops truck won't pick that up. Now, since you guys are picking that up, if I just put grass in a 55-gallon trash bag, will you pick that up when you come around?
Yeah, I think, I mean, not yet.
I mean,
We are trying, we
Okay.
are in the process of taking it over, and you see them, I guess that process was occurring in the back of the truck.
yeah, and I seen the Cyclops truck like 3 days later come down the street and pick up other stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, why is the city doing everything
Yeah,
here?
right now, we've kind of got a hybrid system going on.
Okay.
Because we don't have the proper equipment to pick up all the big stuff.
Mhm.
So we've met with Mr. Garrison, and we decided that we, as the city,
Mhm.
would pick up the palm fronds and the small branches and things of that sort, and
Mhm.
stick them in with our regular trash.
Okay,
But when it comes to the big stuff, you know, they come by and pick that up at this point.
okay.
And
So-
at this point, the good news is that the sanitation department is solvent
Mhm.
at this point in time, but when we pay that check for these trash cans, it'll go in the red again until we
Mhm.
catch up and get that paid out.
Okay, so the big question, like I
let me
said,
just clarify your second one. Your second one had to do with you putting trash on somebody else's lot, or
Mhm.
lot next to you.
well, yeah, to protect
And
my
your
yard,
fear was to protect your yard, right?
yes, or I'll put it in 55-gallon trash bags as long as the city will pick it up. I
So
know
if
the
we had,
Cyclops truck
if we
won't
had,
do
a-
that.
if we had a rule that, that we don't want you putting it on that lot, we'd have to come up with a solution. The solution would be a bag.
Yes,
Okay, I got it.
But to your answer to your question, I think he's good. I mean, we're throwing it in the back of the trash truck now. If he puts it in a bag, it would help us.
Yeah, I'd like to think
Yeah, I mean,
that
that'd
bag
make it
would-
easier for the other guys to pick it up anyway.
I'd like to think that bag would weigh a whole lot, because we're trying to get away from the guys lifting and,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
wrenching their backs and everything.
That is true.
So, perhaps, we can kind of see how, we haven't decided how we're gonna do it yet, so.
Okay. Okay,
We'll take it under advisement, and we'll get back.
all right, thank you.
Don't put on the lot. What was the third one? I didn't get it. Had a number
I'll remember
here
as soon as I
next
see
to
it,
it.
I'll remember.
That's that number.
I would just like to say, it looks like Sam would like to speak on the matter.
Okay. I'm good, Sam.
And have we officially introduced Sam as the new Public Works Director?
It's on my agenda at the
All
county
right.
comment.
All right, here we go.
Any other comment from the audience? All right, we're gonna move to the table. Any discussion on 81? I have one. I don't think we addressed services costs for door-to-door service. Now, I understand there's two things we ought to do. And in my opinion, this is why I'm bringing it up, is that I believe that's a lot of work, and a lot of missed opportunity for recovery on cost. Not that you want to charge people left and right, but if they want a service and they want it picked up, these renters, and they're not going to come down there and take care of it, we should come up with a cost to do that, if we're going to go back there and have our guys do it. But I think we ought to also, like some other cities, have a necessity for an elderly person, or age-wise, or not able to walk, or whatever. We ought to also have an area for that could be filled out and say, at 221, that needs to be picked up because she can't get it out there. And we agree to that.
I think we can all, even though I'm gray in the face and don't remember like some things, but all the debate we had during the budget, our neighbors right down the street in Gulf County, they mandate backdoor service and charge for it for all their rentals. Now, we're not gonna catch all of them because these Airbnbs and VRBOs, but the people that we do know, and it's easy enough because we send letters every year to all the management companies, it'd be easy enough to charge them a fee for backdoor service, concierge service. We should not be charging anyone who has a physical limitation, a handicap, who needs help getting their trash to the street. A full-time resident, that should be out of the question. But people that, just out of a matter of convenience, if you're a full-time resident, you have the ability to pull your trash to the street and you just don't want to, you ought to pay a fee monthly for that. That's just my opinion.
That's where I was going. I kind of agree with that. I think we make a form out that we put on our website that says if you need concierge service because you cannot do it, and whatever reason it is, and we sign off and boom, that's done, and we get it picked up. But I think doing this for rentals that have 4 and 5 containers and trash all over the place, that service should not be provided unless it's paid for.
I'd like to comment on that, if you don't mind. When we talked at the table about this, we were, obviously, the sanitation's in a deficit, or was. When we decided, from what I remember, for the easiness of the implementation of this program, that we were going to just provide the backdoor service like we always have, because that's kind of what we've always done. Our rates are right there in line with the other counties. I remember I didn't bring that rate sheet. I should have, but
It's on page 6.
no, the rate sheet from the other county, that we were close to that number with the service, and so we added the fee for the extra cans to the rentals to get that, and for the sake of keeping it simple to get the program implemented as quick as possible with the cans, because the biggest part of the cans, to me, I thought, was for us to start tracking more trash. where is the trash coming from? Is it the rentals, is it the house over here, or whatever it is, so we could get that. So I was under the impression that we were rolling this out, kind of keeping it, kind of what we've been doing, not to disrupt anything, and as we watch this program develop the next budget season, or if we can get the numbers, then we would provide, because I think, on the other hand, the rentals, if they want the service and if we need to charge for the backdoor service, then we should. And then the other people, because it was in that same rate sheet, if you want to roll your trash out and handle it all yourself, then you should have a reduction in your service, in your fee. Because I remember the sheet, and say Gulf County was $27 or $26 or whatever that number was for a person. You take it out there, you bring the can back and all that. But I thought, for the sake of simplicity and getting this thing enacted, because if we don't get something going soon, we know we're probably going to wind up losing trash, or and that's personally, that's not what I want. I mean, I think, I don't see how we can bring in an outside provider, but yada yada. That's another different.
Well,
but for the sake of this
and Jason,
ordinance,
to your point, we talked about this a lot. But the trash guys know. I mean, they know that every time they come by my house, my trash is going to be out by the street. And they know if I'm out of town, they're not going to have to go look for a trash can. Just like most of there are rentals everywhere, but the guy drives by, and if the can's on its side, they know, but these 96-gallon cans are not going to be on their side. So that means the guy, that's why I think the rentals ought to immediately be impacted with a fee, because our public works guys, the sanitation guys, are going to have to physically go, has there been someone here in the last week, and go check the can. Just the act of going to check the can.
but that's my thing there, and not to get into a huge debate, they're doing that now. They're having to, because we provide that service, so and as I watch it, because I'm up and down some of these streets over here a little more, they're still having to go back there to check the can. I think it'd be much easier if they have to roll it out if there's nothing in there. But to your thing, I think it will be, I'm for revisiting, but for the sake of, I don't know how far we need to.
Yeah, so in an effort to, not expedite, but to get to the second reading and get these canned stuff, this is happening in the next 2 weeks. We're gonna have the cans. So it's to your point, I mean, we did take the rentals and add a $15 per second can. So that was kind of something we forced down their throats.
And we did put in there, Mayor, not to interrupt for while you're on that, isn't it in here, and I know, that we can implement the other can another can a lot easier? If they're over the 2 cans?
If they have excess trash.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's quite said that way, but we can certainly massage the language too.
Well, we have existing language in our ordinances that allows for excess trash fees. We could simply fine them for, we just gotta do a better job of.
Yeah, we just wanna eventually get them to where they just get another can, and we're not, cause I've seen the guys, I know we're getting into this, going down this hole, but, taking the pictures and then relaying it back to City Hall, we're trying to.
Yeah, try to get away from all that.
Yeah.
Try to get away from trash piled on the street. That's what we all want. There's no trash on the street.
At the top of page 6, it just says additional containers may be issued upon request and billed at the city's established rate. So if you want to mandate that the city shall issue an additional can at an additional charge, then you have to establish objective criteria of how to do that. I mean, is that a one-time deal where if they got more than the 96 gallons, how are you gonna do that?
Well, like I said, for the sake of this, we need to.
Why don't we do this? We have a plan, let's It's a
Stick to
good
the
plan,
plan.
but I don't think we ought to give up on, concierge service. I believe we ought to get paid for it. And
So I just have one thing to say on that. I think there's a simple way to do this. I say we charge for concierge service, but we don't charge concierge service for local residents, period. Whether you're elderly or you're not. And the way-
Full-time residents get concierge service.
we just look at who is homestead credit in this town. 15% of the town is homestead credit. Those people get free concierge service. Everybody else has to pay for it. It's that simple.
I agree, that's pretty
I
simple.
don't know that I do agree with that, because I think that's putting a lot of extra workload on our sanitation department. I do believe if you're elderly and handicapped and you can't do it, then maybe some kind of form can go to Julie, or whatever your thoughts might be on that, to notify the city that somebody's 85 years old and they really can't walk 10 feet.
So that's what, I'm assuming that most of our elderly residents who can't or don't want to do this, they're already for full-time residents. They're in that 15% homestead. They'd be covered. No
Well,
charge.
like I said, to keep it uniform right now, until we can get this program implemented. And then I think we're gonna step back and relook at this thing again after.
It's gonna be June before you know it.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, so just last thing on this, I'm not opposed to going forward with this plan, but I think in 4 months, we'll be back here and we'll say, look, the charge this, charge that, formula here, let's just do away with it and just let the local residents have concierge service for free. They're already upset that we're making them throw away all their trash cans. Get a new $96 trash can for $5 a month. They're already upset. Let's give them something back. If you're a homestead credit, in the city of Mexico Beach, you get free concierge service, period.
All right, I'm gonna move this on here so that we can get going, to the next subject. I think that, if we go what we currently have, what Jason said, I think we're gonna be okay. It's a change. We can start to get these cans out, get them numbered. I mean, there's a lot to do. There's 1,900 cans, we can only move like, what, 700 at a time? Maybe a truckload or something, so it's gonna take some time to implement. So get started on it, but I'm gonna send the city administrator a note from me. My suggestion is more in the lines with Ms. Hamilton, that let's make a little form that says, I want concierge service. Not so much how, I want concierge service because I'm 27 years old, so be it, whatever, or 87, whatever it is. And go with that, and we have a group in our city that has that, or we go with the plan of everybody gets concierge service that's a resident, either way. But we can sort that out later.
And I think one advantage to having concierge service to the renters is most people rent from Saturday to Saturday, but the garbage isn't picked up till maybe Monday or Tuesday, and then the bears get in it. So if they can hold it back, out of the view of and the smell of the bear possibly, then that would be less for our guys who are very kind to pick it up, no matter how it's spread all over the street. They very kindly pick it up.
And that's one thing, just to add, I would prefer the cans stay at the house as long as they
And then our guys pick it up on the
in a
appropriate
rental,
day.
but we'll get to, like you said,
Okay. Paraproofing, trash on lots, using bags, concierge service. There's some things we need to address. Get your notes to the city administrator and we'll go from there. All right, moving on to item number 10, I'm sorry. And I think this is Mr. Garrett.
Good.
You gonna?
We need to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Make a motion, right?
No, I don't think so. It's just, no, we're all right.
You had a first reading.
Yeah.
You've given instructions on what changes to make, and I'll bring back another version.
We're good.
Okay.
Good morning to the citizens, the council, Mayor Wolf. What I bring before you today is to ask for approval for the SCADA system for phase 1 of Sugar Sands. Right now, we don't have any type of SCADA system on that lift station, and the problem is it failed during the annexation of Sugar Sands Phase 1, it was failed to be put into the as-built. So right now, that station is built to Bay County specs, and it doesn't include our SCADA system. So we don't have any type of way to know if that station is going to overflow or anything like that. Matter of fact, Thanksgiving Day, the guys were out here 4 hours dealing with that station because it has an overflow. I don't know how many of you have been to Sugar Sands recently, but it's pretty much, phase 1 is pretty much built out. So we need to get something done before the summer months get here and it happens again.
Can you just tell the public basically what that is?
Okay, what it is it's a system on the lift station that alerts us if the pump doesn't kick on, if the wet well gets too high. It's pretty much just an alarm system that communicates with us by phone call. It'll call us if anything goes wrong with that station and give us a chance to get out there before the station overflows.
Okay, any comments from the public?
I guess cost, is there a?
Yes, sir, it should be up there for you.
Yeah, it should be $16,000, altogether $16,119.
Could you show that cost, Julie, please?
Yeah, let's zoom in on it here. So with all those together.
Everything adds up.
Is that a one-time or it's reoccurring?
Yes, sir. That's a one-time payment. If you see at the bottom there, that 12-month cellular plan, that's something you have to pay for every year. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions
And
from the
that comes
public?
out of your budget?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Comes out of the salary. Any other questions from the audience?
Is it on all our stations right now?
Yes, sir, it is. And like I say, the only reason it isn't on that station in Sugar Sands Phase 1 is because at the time they wasn't annexed into the city, and it was built off of Bay County specs, which they were going off of.
Do we know for a fact they're in the Salt Creek currently?
Yes, sir. Every other station, they're in there. It was just
The developer put it in? Or?
Yes, sir. At the time of this, we didn't know. It was back and forth. Like some people, they said we were over the maintenance of the area at the time, and then they say we wasn't. So it was just back and forth of us not knowing exactly what was going on. If we did know, we would have put it in when y'all approved the last batch of that SCADA system for the lift station.
So that alarm's going off there and then somebody calls you from Sugar Sands?
Yes, sir, right now, yes, sir. And if they missed that alarm, like what happened on Thanksgiving Day, it was pretty much filled up with visitors. And thank God somebody called us, but it was running down the road and the guys had to come out and put lime around the station and also determine what was really wrong with the station. So they was out about 4 hours that day.
Have we made any request to the developer to, I know it's been some time.
Yes, sir.
They're an association and everything else, aren't they?
You know where it's going.
Yeah. Have we asked them to pay for it? I'm a sales guy, I asked for it.
Well, I mean, at this time, I'm just thinking it's been so.
Yeah, so long.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I think it's worth at least that, we're gonna ask the city administrator to get a hold of Farmdale Group and at least ask that question.
But comment, I do think we should move forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, we
Absolutely,
can
yeah.
put it in and
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
deal with that.
We need to move forward. I had one other question on it.
Yes, sir.
If I look at this 16, I look at the date on it, you don't have it in front of you, I have it in front of me.
Yes, sir.
It says that it's 1/13/26, but then I go to the contract on page 2, and the pricing and terms, it says this quotation will be honored for 90 days.
Oh, it's still good.
Today's 90 days.
Yes, sir. Don't worry about that part of it. I spoke to Mr. Fred Toon from Data Flow, and they are going to honor that.
They'll honor the price.
Yes, sir.
Past the 90 days.
Yes, sir.
Just to confirm, Derek, did I hear you say that this SCADA antenna is on all the existing
Yes, sir.
stations, including the one next to my house that
Yes,
no
sir.
longer goes off in the middle of the night? So
Yes, sir.
that's why I don't have to call it? Good to know.
All right, Any other questions about it? A motion to move forward?
I make a motion that we approve the SCADA system for Sugar Tank.
I'll second it.
Do we have to mention that we're gonna go to the developer and talk to
Well,
him?
if the developer watches this.
He's gonna know.
He's gonna know that the city has approved it
Okay,
at
all right.
city expense.
Yeah, okay. A motion and a second?
Mr. Fasaki?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. You could just stall and not turn, not get it, and you let the alarm keep going on. See what they say. Did you get that? They're still listening. All right. Citizens' comments. It's you guys' turn. Any questions for the city, for the council? Anybody? City comments are closed. Staff comments?
I've got a few, Your Honor.
Okay.
Number one, many of you know that this past Thursday, Mark Steele resigned as our Public Works Director. It came quite unexpectedly, but he has had some family health issues that he has to attend to, and felt that it's in his best interest and his family's interest to, take care of them at this time. At that point, I called Sam into my office, and I said, Sam, I need your help. We need someone to fill in as the interim Public Works Director until which time we could find a permanent replacement. And thank the Lord that Sam said yes, so I'm introducing Sam as our interim Public Works Director. I think you all know Sam well enough. He's got a personality that I think is congruent to what the staff needs, as well as the city council and the general public.
It'll be okay. You'll be all right.
Also, yesterday I got a call from the Florida's Auditor General's office. You may recall we had a JLAC audit not long ago. It's time for the follow-up. So what he did, he sent some questions that they needed comments from, so I forwarded that to our finance director, which I'm so glad we have. He's already answered some of the questions on there. We're going to let other staff members look at it. We have to have this back to them by February the 6th. I told Mr. Danley that we will have it to him well before February the 6th. But once they receive our documentation, then they will schedule an on-site follow-up audit to make sure things are in good shape. And I think that we are. Another item is we've anticipated the Seaside Market for a number of months now. I had conversation with George Duran yesterday. There will be a groundbreaking on site for the Seaside Market at 1 o'clock Central Time on Thursday. That's just in a couple days. So I think we're all glad to see that that is beginning. Also, you may know that every time you pass by Sunset Park, there is quite a bit of damage that remains to that structure. We did have a structural engineer do a study for us to see what needed to be done for repairs. We then sent that to Bonnevic, who is the contractor that installed the Sunset Park Pavilion originally a number of years ago. And based on that information from the engineer, they came back with a quote. And keep in mind that when that inspection happened, they had another contractor with them just to kind of see if there's anything they're missing. And that contractor said it's going to cost at least $150,000. Well, I'm proud to announce that Bonnevic said they could do it for $125,000. So because that happened during the guise of the tornado, we don't have to go out for competitive bidding. This needs to be done as quick as possible because there is a lead time on the underside of the roof, that decking material, that's like a 6 to 8 week process to get it here. So I've already contacted that firm out of Georgia to get that started. But it's best that we get that sooner rather than later, because the mayor impressed upon me, he wishes to have that up and running by the summer. And so that 6 to 8 week wait might be a little bit of a thorn on our side, but I think we can overcome that and have it.
Mel, is the insurance paying for that?
They are.
Okay.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Oh, I forgot one thing.
Wait, what?
515th Street.
You may recall there was something on the agenda last meeting concerning the 15th Street. It was noticed to be at this particular meeting today, but we are awaiting a study for the watershed area there, and that's not ready yet. As soon as that is ready, we will bring that back to the council. But because that was noticed for today, I need to publicly announce that with council's permission, we can postpone that to next meeting. You think that'll be ready, Julie?
That's what they're hoping.
They're hoping for. So that will be back on the 27th. And thanks for reminding me.
I had one other thing now. I spoke to you recently about the fact that we as a city council had voted several months back to discontinue the debris service with KK. You told me we couldn't discontinue it, even though our guys are picking up a lot of the small stuff, because we don't have a dump truck to pick up a larger
You don't have the
thing.
proper machine to grab the stuff and.
So what is your opinion on that, Sam? What, any equipment that you have, is there any kind of way that we could end that contract? Since we did vote a while back to do
You would have
that.
to order a piece of equipment to pick it up. Like we were talking about with the grass and the bags, that's
Yeah.
gonna be heavy.
Okay.
You need some kind of claw to pick up
Yeah.
debris.
And so maybe we can reevaluate what we're actually spending and giving to KK, because they're not picking up a whole lot of stuff, and I don't know what the price of that item would be, but that might be some food for thought for another discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we did vote to cancel that. And I think after the tornado, we kind of got stuck in the spot, so we probably need to reevaluate how often the pickups are, what we're gonna spend, something along that lines. I think the city administrator can put that together along with Sam.
Yeah. St. Joe, they did it over there for many years. I used to work at St. Joe, and we had a claw and a truck behind it, two or 3 days a week to pick up the debris, take it to the transfer station.
I was gonna say, just during our general discussions about terminating that contract, I just got online. I don't think our city needs a debris truck the scale of what they have.
Absolutely not.
So just a smaller piece of equipment, I think, and as we approach the budget season, that could be something we look at doing.
Good point.
Thank you, Lynn.
The last time I looked at the approval for the invoices, I approved one yesterday for KK Storm. And for the last 3 pickups, it was a little over $3,000, so roughly $1,000 a pickup. And so at this point, that is looking good for our budget. Like I said earlier, the sanitation department is solvent right now, but it won't be as soon as we pay the check for those cans. Had that been the opposite way, had that been insolvent, I would have rethought the whole thing.
All right, that's all staff comments, council comments.
I guess I'll go first. The comment I've got is going back to the workshop that we had over police and fire. And there's a whole lot of discussion, there's good and bad about all the scenarios. But I think the common thing that I think we could say as a council, and hopefully the citizens would say this too, is we've waited dadgum long enough. I think we've reached the point with FEMA projects that it's time to exert all possible legislative pressure So I'm encouraging the public, go to the governor, go to all your representatives, send them emails. I would encourage the mayor and all of us to engage whatever action we have to do, because where we sit today, and I got to praying and thinking about this. Best case, we might have a police and fire station in 3 years. But I don't even feel good about that, the way things are going. So I think it's time for drastic times require drastic measures and top-down pressure to get our projects finished. I mean, we're gonna be a decade after Hurricane Michael, and I doubt we'll have a police and fire facility completed.
Yeah, and we're in the same situation with our peer. I mean, we're moving along. I understand we have our quotes.
Yeah, but Mayor, to that point, not to interrupt you, frustration in the community, and I'm trying to reflect that, is boiling over. And we need action. The time for this, patting people on the back and being nice and all these meetings with them every 2 weeks, it's over. I mean, we're staring down the barrel. It's gonna be a decade after, and our public safety people are operating basically in a lean-to, put it candidly.
Yeah, I can't blame them I can't blame FEMA when we haven't even given them a design.
Well, to your point, but I can blame them for dragging their feet for years before they finally agreed, as we were telling them, that we couldn't go back to 14th Street. And it's not like there's just a vacant parcel of property other than this 25 acres, and then they want to mandate all these criteria. I say as a city, let's go ahead and build our road and tell them that we're going to put ball fields and walking trails back there, and on the dry ground, we're going to build our police and fire station, and get all our elected officials hearing from us on a weekly, if not every 2-week basis, that this is not acceptable disaster response and recovery response. Public safety is a big deal in this town, and the time for playing nice is over. We can be firm without being nasty. And
Have we as a city contacted Neil Dunn's office and Senator Moody?
from Washington, get the pressure coming from Washington.
Heck, even even Jimmy Petronas, he'll pay attention to us. He helped unstick some stuff with the Eglin site over in the Cape last month. I mean, he'll help us. Have we as a formal city government made some calls on this? Look, the council, the mayor, the city, the residents, we are on our last nerves. We need help to
And
do something.
the answer to that is yes, from my side and from the city administrator's side, I know of. We've had conversations with some officials.
We've also had conversations with FEMA that we're at the point where we're gonna start getting more pressure from those well above us, to put pressure on them to move much quicker.
Yeah.
But like the mayor said, until we give them a design, they're not gonna do anything. So it's on us to get that design to them. We need 2 task orders approved. We got one already from DAG Architects, that'll be on the 27th. We hope to get the one from Dewberry, so it can also be on the 27th.
Well, Mel, the comment, and I'm flashing back to our workshop, and Pat, the representative, I think that's right, you kept calling him Paul.
Call him Paul. Sorry, Paul.
But he kept saying, and this is my frustration with FEMA, they don't want to build back anything other than what you had prior to the storm. Our police and fire facility was a consolidated facility prior to the storm, but they want now a design for 2 separate facilities. To me, that's just more bureaucracy stringing us along down some sort of path that's going to take months, which are going to turn into years before we can blink. As a resident and as an appointed member of this council, I'm frustrated to hear that. That's all I've got.
Next, police and fire conversation with FEMA and that team. You want to be on that team?
I'm
The fact is, he's requested to be on that call. That's tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I intend to be there.
So be it. You're on that.
I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to observe. I hope not.
Please say something. Yeah, that's all right.
I've already told him you're coming, so it's all.
I've done the same thing with the pier and we've got some other council
Well,
people doing
and
it too.
since we're here and it's open dialogue and it's a matter of public record, let me just say that I hope and pray our city administrator is right and we have an answer by April on our pier.
Right.
Just an answer that, a thumbs up, yeah, good to go. Our jetties are still out there in limbo. Yeah, maybe we'll have an answer by then, but nothing that's happened since the hurricane with FEMA has given me warm and fuzzies.
All right, mayor comments on
I have
all this?
some,
Go
yeah, I have
ahead,
some.
council.
One thing on your note, I had spoke with Mel, I just wanna put it in front of the board on the police and fire. We know we're probably gonna need 2 entrances, and, you know, St. Joe Company have wanted us to take over Joe Road. I wasn't a big proponent of that until, and I think maybe we should give Mel, the administrator, some direction to maybe contact St. Joe if we could get the rest of the access to the parcel. We would be more willing to take that road. And I know there's some things that's still in the flood zone, you know, there's some things I would want St. Joe to possibly build the road for us, it's gonna benefit them. But in that, if we get, on our own with this, at least that road will be less expensive at first than the bridge. I still think we need
2 points.
2 points, and that's on that. Another thing I wanted to discuss with y'all, didn't want it to be social media. I wanted the board to know and the citizens to know at this table that I will not be seeking re-election.
Would you like to share your reason why, or you just have to?
I have a couple questions.
Now. Good.
Are y'all finished? Okay. I just have 2 questions for the city administrator, just sort of a public update. Do we have any new information, or what is the current status of this proposed multi-use path that is coming through Tyndall Air Force Base and is supposed to one day go along US 98? By the way, anything new on that? None at all. Okay. And the second question, thank you, Ms. Logan, for bringing this back up into the front of my memory. This Mexico Beach bypass that has apparently been talked about for a long time, long before we moved here. And I think it's the bypass we're talking like where it would come in from Tyndall or right around the inland gas station and then sort of go behind Mexico Beach. Not the long, big Florida Parkway that starts in Callaway and empties out in Overstreet.
And if you will look at the Nickel Creek maps, you will see where it comes through. There's a diagonal line.
I saw that diagonal.
That's the path of the Back Beach Road. It comes directly out of Tyndall. It cannot be in Tyndall. It has to hook onto 98, this side of Tyndall.
Right.
It goes on the north side of the St. Joe property, comes down that angled thing that's in the Nickel Creek things, and is supposed to hook up to what is the second phase of the highway, just north of the Harmon property, where there's a guardrail on 386. That's where it's supposed to cross 386 and hook up. There's 2 phases left to build. The first phase is already done. It's where they moved 4 miles inland. Then they've got to go behind St. Joe Beach and Beacon Hill and come out at 386, and then that section that goes through this Nickel Creek development and behind St. Joe is the third one.
Yeah, so Julie, can you just put up one of the drawings of the new Nickel Creek development? You're right, it's just this giant slash right through the property. Do we have any idea of where that status of that project is?
No.
And what we could do as a city to, there again, apply pressure to the state to make that section a priority.
Maybe the next one?
Different map.
That's
It's
the other one that I
It's a color map.
This is the other one that I downloaded.
Go back to.
But you can
What
see it
what is
right
it,
here
what
on
is
the
it we're
corner.
trying to accomplish here? Where we're at?
I just wanted to know, what's the last?
What's the
any of us-
status of the back road?
What's the last any of us ever heard about this back road project?
Okay, Lisa, okay, thank you. Why don't we bring the back road up and have us try to get a hold of DOT and try to see what they know? I can tell you that there was some conversation that I had with, I talked to Nickel Creek guys yesterday and asked them, did they know anything about that during the development? And they said they heard some rumor there was something going on, so we could look into it.
All right, thank you, that's it for me.
Anything else on that? Any other council comments? All right. Seaside Market, I already talked about it. It looks like, in the park, I saw some building material for the amphitheater. That's exciting. Is it good there, sitting there? Is it gonna be there for the next 4 months? Is it guarded, protected?
They're saying it is.
I just see it sitting there with plastic, I know that thing costs a lot of money. Nothing we have to do to put it somewhere else,
The contractor says they're taking care of it.
okay. How's the bridge doing?
They were supposed to take the forms off the abutments today, and then they're waiting for the delivery schedule of the actual bridge.
Okay.
So we're waiting, we should hear that any day now.
We're still under work during the week and open it up on the weekend, right?
They're only closing when they need to.
Yeah, it's
Probably
been-
the only time that they're gonna close it again is when the actual delivery of the bridge comes. And they are about 6 weeks ahead of schedule. The last
Wow,
construction schedule that I saw showed completion around, I think it said April 11th, and they were originally down into like the end of May. So they're like 6 weeks ahead of schedule at this point.
That will make our dogs happy.
So.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
It's near and dear to your heart.